me, you here, CEO of Focus 180 Coaching. Let me tell you a little bit about what I do. I work with people who are ready to move forward, ready to move from point A to point B. Point B meaning your mission, your vision, your destination, your dreams, your desires, right? And point A is where you are right now. So I help my clients to manifest their goal faster, quicker, and further. How do we do that? Really simply, we clarify your goals. We help you select and prioritize the right activities. We're gonna make sure you do what you're supposed to do every single day. That's called accountability. We're also gonna give you a push once in a while, but always with a smile. But most importantly, we are going to give you all the support you need when times are tough. Guys, www.focus180coaching.com if you wanna know more about what I do. And book a complimentary session where we're going to clarify your goal and give you a mini plan of action. In the meantime, have a good one, be well, and stay focused on what you want. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Focus 180 Podcast. And this week we're meeting with Sandi Cohen. And I hope you're ready because there is a lot of value coming your way, especially if you want to learn how to do more in less time with social media. In 1978, Sandi and her husband built a multi-million-dollar medical and surgical company in the Northeast. Unfortunately, after 8 years of legal battle, they almost lost everything. That was 1986. A few years later, after being in 11 different network marketing companies, she finally broke the code, and listen to that, she helped more than 48 people earn $1 million or more. 48 people earn $1 million or more. Sandi and Ed have been featured in several Amazon bestsellers and other publications. They're also powerful international speakers. Sandi, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Courageous, and thanks for inviting me, Denny. Looking forward to our time together.
Yeah, this is pretty good because I think I'm excited about this podcast because I want to learn from you. I know a lot of people they have questions about social media, and we're going to talk about several tips how to stand out in the crowd, from the crowd online. So that's pretty good. So I'm ready. You ready?
I'm always ready.
So let's get slowly. So is there anything you want to share with, let's say somebody asks you something like, what is it that most people don't know about you? So we get to know you a little, then we go straight to business.
You know, it's interesting, Denny, and I think because of who you are and your audience, they sometimes look at people where they are today without realizing what experiences they've had in the past, the struggles they've had in the past to get them where they are today. And I guess I'm dating myself now, but 30 years ago, when we sold our businesses to buyers who defaulted, and an absolute nightmare for 8 years in the legal system. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, as my attorney said to me, when we started the legal battle, he said something like, you know, no one ever said the law was fair, but 8 years of a legal battle, we lost everything to prove we were right. And I really didn't understand struggle, Denny. I didn't. I had never experienced a downward spiral until we sold our businesses. And someone gifted me a book by Dr. M. Scott Peck called The Road Less Traveled. And I was in awe, because truth is, I didn't read the whole book. I only read the first chapter. And the first 3 words in the first chapter is life is difficult. And then he goes on to explain about obstacles and how you handle the obstacles. Either you freeze or you figure out how to get over them, around them, under them. And until that point in my life, I didn't understand struggle. I didn't understand downward spirals. I felt bad for people who experience it, but it's like anything else. Unless you've experienced, you don't know their pain. And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for 8 solid years. But we overcame those obstacles because I really believe We were not put here to struggle. And I think we can get more by giving value and helping other people. So that's a little shortcut as to where we are today, based on where we were.
That's good. Yeah, if people get to know you, I mean, you have a beautiful story. Absolutely. Hey, do you want to tell us a little bit about your work experience? Let's say 20 seconds or so, what you've done so far in your life.
20
it's 20 seconds. I know.
Oh my God.
I know, but
I can't say hi in 20 seconds. But I guess it dates back, and I'm dating myself now, when I graduated Temple with a degree in education, 1963. I volunteered to be the first white female in an all-black school. Why did I do that during the days of integration? Because I really wanted to make a difference as a young woman. And that passion, that purpose has stayed with me my entire life. So it's like my med surg business. My specialty was pediatrics. Why? My heart went out to families with children with special needs, like spina bifida, like cancer. So I've always been about finding a solution for problems. And I'm sorry, that was more than 20 seconds.
No, that's okay, because that's no problem. Because I got another question for you. I want to maximize what I can get from you. That's all. Hey, let's talk about your business right now. What's the name of it? Just what you do, and we're going to jump in the right question.
Well, it's interesting. I think because of the science fiction movie the world is now living in, we're all waiting to wake up and say, oh my God, what a nightmare we had. I mean, I don't think Stephen King could have written it any better. But I think most people today are in fear of uncertainty because there is nothing certain anymore. So we will overcome this crisis just like we've overcome other crises. But we're old enough, Denny, you and I, to know there's always a crisis. So if we were forewarned 2 years ago or 3 years ago that Chicken Little, the sky was going to fall, would we have been better prepared? And I think most people today are reconsidering where are they versus where they want to be. And for me, I've decided, like a shark on Shark Tank, and we watch that show at least 3 or 4 nights a week during dinner. My grandchildren are actually addicted to Shark Tank. But to have true freedom, true time freedom and financial freedom, you must have 3 to 5 streams of income, preferably passive. But most people don't want to mortgage the house and the firstborn to be able to do that. So we've sort of figured out a way, if people would love to have multiple streams of income. Absolutely. And believe in that, to get their time freedom, to get their flexibility, to get their control of their finances for themselves and their family, then obviously I'd love to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know Bob Proctor. I was watching
very well, of course.
Yeah, I was listening to him the other week, and he says it all the time. Multiple sources of income. Don't just. Yeah, that's very cool. Hey, let's talk about social media, because that's what we are here today. 5 tips or 6 tips. Let's start with number 1. What would you say?
Okay.
Look, I'm ready. I'm taking notes.
So a little preface. 30 years ago, if anybody remembers Walkman, the audio cassette tapes, if you're old enough to remember that, I heard an audio and the gentleman said this: if you do not embrace technology, those who do will leave you in the dust. And I said, nobody's going to leave me in the dust. And that's when I became, I don't want to say a tech junkie because I don't do programming, but I'm smart enough to know that if you use technology, you can do more in less time. Yes. So 5 tips. I'm going to give you tips about social media.
Okay.
The world has changed. I can remember the tool that I built a monster business with, which is 19 years ago. It was called Fax on Demand. Anybody remember Fax on Demand? We sure have come a long way since Fax on Demand. So we now know that if you're in business, you must be online. Number 1, give value without expecting anything in return. Number 2 would definitely be content is king.
All right, let's talk about, this is important because I hear that all the time. So tell me more about that content is king. What does that mean? Do I give everything I got? Do I just give a little? Tell me.
The key to social media is branding yourself, not the company, not the products, because people join because they like or trust you. If you're vomiting on social media with before and after pictures and all this stuff, that in most cases repels people. They don't want to join people who are vomiting all over social media about what they think is the next greatest thing to slice bread. So we have a social media app that does all the content creation for you the right way, consistently on all social media platforms. And there's nothing else like it in the world. And we've just released Amy. And of course, I always say she's a female. Why? Because she multitasks. And it's really artificial intelligence media interface. And what Amy can do for you is create an entire month of consistent professional posts with inspiration, articles, motivation, strategic, relevant content, all by filling out a questionnaire. And then Amy goes to work for your particular brand or your particular profession. And some of us who do multiple things, she can do 10 different businesses, depending upon what you fill in that questionnaire. And just one business profile and one campaign for 30 days, she can do over 800 posts online. So when you think about what's possible, because when I ask people, how much time do you spend a week doing your social media? Because most people realize they have to do it. And most people don't want to spend a fortune to do it. And the typical response, well, I spend about 2 hours to 20 hours a week to do consistent. So that means I used to have an assistant come in 3 days a week after school that did all my social media. Okay. That's 3 days a week. That's 12 days a month. What took her 12 days a month to do, I can do now in 2 hours once a month. Think about that. 8 to 20 hours reduced to 1 to 2 hours once a month, not once a week. So we've got something that's very exciting.
We'll get back to that. So you got the first one is give value without expecting anything. The second one is content.
Content is key. Third, consistency. Everything in life is about consistency for success. The other would probably be I call it CANI, CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. Just know that technology, kids today, newborn babies are born cable ready. They come out of the womb holding an iPhone or an iPad. I mean, they just know what to do. I was at an Apple class maybe 2 years ago, and there was a woman with a baby in a stroller. The baby was about 2 years old, and she's holding an iPad. Yeah. And I went, I just took 2 hours of a class to do what she's doing in the stroller. Can I hire your baby? So we're not, some of us aren't young anymore, and we didn't grow up with technology. So just understand that we can all learn new skills. Constant and never-ending improvement is critical. Yep. And I think connecting with people who stand out from the crowd. And when you ask for advice, is that person someone who's really qualified to give you advice? What have they done? Yeah. And I've learned the hard way. Obviously, we learn through experience, and we hopefully don't repeat the same mistakes, because that's the definition of insanity. But I find so many people ask advice of people who've never been successful. Why would you ask advice of someone who's never done what you want to do? So I think being very selective in who you're communicating with will help you get a whole lot further, a whole lot faster, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. In my last podcast, I was talking to a young man, 24 years old, really successful. And he said that the same as you do. He said, he said something like, never hire a fat man to be your physical fitness. He won't get it. He never done it, right? So it's about the same thing.
Yeah.
So I got number one, give value without expecting. Number two, content is king. Number three, you call it consistency. Number four, improve all the time, I call it. And number five, connection. Now I'm going to ask you one more question, not a few more questions, but one more about this. What do you think the biggest challenge is for people right now who wants to go online? Because everybody wants to be online. Everybody wants to be on top of Google. So what's the biggest challenge? How do we do this?
I think the most difficult thing for most people to do is to find something that's real, that's authentic, and will help them achieve their goals. And the truth is, there's not a lot out there that will help people accomplish without spending a lot of money, obviously. I mean, the average person who hires an agency, I mean, we used to use Hootsuite, Post Planner. I had to have a gal in here 3 days a week. We're talking, I spent probably $400 to $500 easy a week just to get it done. So I understand that you have to spend money in order to make money. And if you do it right, you should get an ROI, or return on investment, pretty darn quickly. Good. So I'm so excited about Amy Social. She's called Amy Social, AIMI Social, because she has the solution very easily to be online consistently, give value, and brand yourself, which is the most important thing, and give value to the people that are, because the first thing I do, Denny, if I'm connecting with somebody and through Facebook or LinkedIn or a phone call, my knee-jerk reaction is I go to Facebook and LinkedIn and look up their profile. What are they posting? Is it about politics? Is it about religion? Then definitely that's not someone I probably want to do business with. People must give value so that people love your posts. And when they love your post, then they make a comment. That is your knee-jerk reaction to start a conversation, because that's how you connect with people. It's not necessarily a lead generator. It's more about branding who you are, and that people want to have a conversation with you. They have that desire to know more about you and how to collaborate and do possible collaboration and joint ventures.
Good. Love it. We're going to go into, I call it the success question, because I want to make sure, I want to know a little bit more. Can you name, in your opinion, 3 characteristics or human traits that everybody needs to be successful in life in general? Just forget about social media, but in life in general. In business, you're really successful. So in business.
The most important, I think, of anything is to believe anything is possible.
Okay.
Belief is paramount. And you don't have to say, well, how am I going to do it? It's like when we were $450,000 in debt, we visited here in Las Vegas, and everything was on the drawing board. And I looked at it and I said, someday I want to live here. And he looked at me and he said, are you out of your mind? We're almost $500,000 in debt. How are we going to do that? I said, I have no idea. Guess what? 7 years, actually 10 years later, we built $1 million home in Lake Las Vegas because I believed it was possible. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I just kept believing it would happen, not could happen.
First one is believe. What's the second one? Sorry.
The second one would be willing to be mentored and seek mentorship of people who already have success. And it's amazing how many successful people people don't reach out to them because they think, oh my God, they won't talk to me. They love to talk to people who aspire to be more, to be better. So I think willing to be mentored and seek out mentorship is critical.
Yeah. And the third one would be?
Probably being like a parachute, open to learning new things,
Open-minded.
no matter how old you are. My father used to tell me this as a teenager. He used to say, a day shouldn't go by when you don't learn something new. And I don't care whether you're 15 years old or 75 years old, the same applies.
You know, I love what you say, and I say it all the time. I mean, I say my clients, I say you need to learn two things every single day: something about your business that you don't know, and something about you self-development. And also, I always say everybody needs a coach. So whatever you say, everything you say, I relate to you. So thank you very much for that. Here's another question for you. What do you do every single day to make you to become a better woman, a better businesswoman, a better entrepreneur?
Oh my goodness, what do I do every day? People say to me, when are you going to stop? And I said, I hope never, because we were blessed by a Hindu monk in Mauritius about 3 years ago on a leadership trip. And most people, I didn't know where Mauritius was, but I do now because we went there. It's a little dot in the middle of the Indian Ocean. But he blessed us with another 30 years of health and prosperity.
Nice.
And my reaction to that was, is that all? Because I got a lot to do. So what do I do every day? I wake up with anticipation, intention that I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to make positive connections with people. And, to divert a little bit, but 30 years ago, when we were going through just an absolute downward nightmare spiral, I met a couple by the name of Jerry and Esther Hicks. And if I can give any value to everybody listening, they changed our lives. And she wrote a book, and it's on our website. Our website is sandyanded.com, Sandy with an I. And I have the PDF on that book, of that book on our website.
Which book you're talking about? Which one?
Ask and it is given.
I got it right here. I read it all the time. Yeah, I would recommend that book to anybody.
And it was amazing how my husband also embraced every chapter. We did every exercise. And here we are 30 years later. We are still doing her principles of every single day when we wake up. In fact, I'll show you something. This is 30 years old. It's a daily calendar with her quotes that I bought 30 years ago, that every morning I wake up and I read many of her quotes.
So let's go straight to quote then. What's your favorite quote?
Okay. Hope everybody's ready for this, and they should write it down.
I got my look.
Okay. Because it ties into what they teach in Ask and It Is Given. Here we go. And this is a Cohen quote now. You are where your thoughts are. Make sure your thoughts are where you want to be. Now, sometimes that's really hard. I mean, we were living a nightmare. And of course, nightmares usually get worse before they get better. And now, while we're going through the 8-year multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and we lost everything, the 10,000 square foot home, the Rolls Royce, all gone. And we're now living in a little townhouse, taking care of my mother with breast cancer and Alzheimer's, being diapered, tube fed, suctioned, and on oxygen. Okay. Very difficult to keep those positive thoughts going. And what Esther teaches in the book, and when I met her directly, she said, deal with what you have to do with the legal battle. But then her word was pivot. Yes. Pivot immediately to something positive, something where you had such joy in your life and everything was perfect. And it's not always hard to pivot, because let's face it, regardless of where you are, you have a bad day. Things happen. And I never forget, okay, take a deep breath or go listen to some music or listen to a meditation tape, but pivot to a good feeling, not just a thought, but you have to tie the thought to the feeling in your gut. And I think that was a big part of our becoming so successful.
I agree. And if everybody would pivot, like you say, go to the better feeling, this world would be so much better.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about that. So yeah, I recommend the book too. Hey, let's go because we got a few minutes left. How do we contact you? And talk to me a little bit about Amy, a little bit more. And then I'm going to go with the conclusion.
Okay. So because of who you are, Denny, and because your audience is all about progress, improvement, we're going to gift all your audience who would like a free social media app called Amy Social. So they just have to go to the website, AI social marketing.solutions, plural. That's AI social marketing.solutions, and download the app absolutely free. No credit card, absolutely free. Get a 7-day free trial for the pro subscription. They can take the training 7 days. If they love it, they'll subscribe. If they don't, they can just keep the free app. But when they go to my website, AIsocialmarketing.solutions, we're also going to give them an ebook on kicking butt on social media.
Good.
It was actually written by a friend. I can't take credit for it. It was written by a friend of mine who used to be the head of Apple here in Vegas, and now he's part of the Microsoft business team, and he wrote it, so I can't take credit for it. But it's a phenomenal book educating people on the real purpose of being consistent and branding yourself on social media. So that's a bonus gift. If they go to AIsocialmarketing.solutions, they'll also get the guide to kick butt on social media. And to reach me directly, I'm again a tech junkie. I have a digital business card. Why? Because I have shoe boxes filled with business cards, and we're killing trees to make business cards that most people don't keep anyway. So if you text Cohen, Cohen, to 64600, that's text Cohen, Cohen, to 64600. You'll get my digital business card, and there's a tab there called free resources. And I don't know about you, but free is my favorite word. So you'll be able to go there and get some really cool free resources. And if people don't know how to do the text, to 64600, they can always go to the URL elevate, elevate.bi/Cohen, Cohen. So it's elevate.bi/Cohen, Cohen. And I'd love to connect with your viewers and help them do more on social media the right way without spending a fortune, and sure as heck without spending a lot of time, and branding themselves so that I'm getting more likes and more comments on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter than I've ever gotten before, with hiring somebody 3 days a week to do it for me.
Awesome. Listen, because I want to keep this a little bit short, I wish I could talk to you for hours and hours. I would listen, but I have to be fair with everybody. So first thing I would like to say, thank you very much for taking the time and come and share and your experience and knowledge like this. Really greatly appreciated.
It's my pleasure, Denny.
Yeah, no problem. And don't go away. I'm going to do a little, 30-second announcement, and we'll say goodbye together. Is that okay?
Wonderful. Sure. Whatever you want.
Guys, if you're successful in your business, or if you know somebody who's successful in the business and they want to speak in our podcast, we're always looking for speakers. So don't be shy. If you get value, contact zeelall. I'm going to put her email right here below. Contact her. She's going to tell you the process, what we're looking for. Also, if you got some value today from Sandi, 3 things you need to do for me in our group is like, comment, and subscribe. Give us your takeaway. Tell us what you like. Tell us, because the bigger we become, the better, the more people we're going to be able to help. In the meantime, I will say, Sandi, one more time, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. And before I go, I always say the same thing. Be well and stay focused on what you really, really, really want.